G'day guys, welcome back to Supercoach for DR and welcome to the round 18 review. Hope that you all had a ripper of a round yourself. Now firstly, apologies for the very late upload this week. There was meant to be a bloke coming out on Monday to fix up our internet. He's now cancelled for 2 days in a row, got no internet at home, so I've had to quickly duck into school. I've got about 10 minutes to get this one out, so I'm going to keep it pretty short and sweet this week. But my round score was 23.76. I think that was slightly under par this week. Unfortunately, for the second week in a row, after climbing the ranks for a few weeks, I do have another red arrow down 240 spots just this week for an overall rank of 23.36. So those hopes of finishing somewhere near the top 1K are quickly starting to fade, but with 4 trades in the bank, hopefully I can make a little bit of a move in the next couple of weeks. So as I said, I'm going to keep this one pretty short today. Hope that you're all well. Let's see how the team's looking. So in the defence this week, we had a couple of decent scores. We had Sinclair's 133. We know what the story is with this bloke each and every week. If he's allowed to have that freedom, find the pill with ease, then he'll score well. Super damaging type player. And again on the weekend, he was allowed that freedom. So I can't understand why opposition coaches don't lock down on this bloke every day of the week. But as an owner, I'm super happy that they're not. So Jack Sinclair, the only slight concern with the Sinclair pick is the fact that he does face McGuinness, I think, in a few weeks. Now, we know that McGuinness may not go to Sinclair. It may be someone like a Jack Steele or another type player. We're not too sure there. And the other player, I think this is in round 23, is Ryan Clark, who really shut him down last time. So I do expect Sinclair to possibly have a quiet match in our grand final. If you've got a spare trade, it may be even just for that week flipping him. It could be a decent move, but we'll get to that bridge if or when we need to cross it. James Sicily with the 114 had a pretty slow start to the game. I think he was only on 10 to 20 points in the first quarter, but did really kick back with a big second half. So 114 points from Sis, almost right on his season average of 114.7. But had a great year, James Sicily. Doc, he's sort of been a little bit up and down lately, but a 93, it's a score that we can stomach, but we're certainly looking for 100 plus every time. Same as Georgie Hewitt. He's had a really nice week last week with a 120 plus, back to into a mid-90s. Again, no disaster. That's okay. Jaden Short finally has got to 3 figures for the first time in a while. He was playing North Melbourne, so I expected him to have a fair game. The fact that he just got to 3 figures against, well, pretty much the worst team in the comp, no offense, North Melbourne, that's not a great sign, is it? So, look, we know that Baker's role slightly changed over the weekend as well. We had Vlaston back down there. So, look, with Shorty moving forward, I'm not expecting great things. I think if you can move him on, that's a good move to make. Possibly up to Stewart next week if you can find the cash and you got the trades in the bank. It's the same as Jack Crisp. I can't really put my finger on what's happening with Crispy at the moment. I just don't know if he's out of form or whether there's something more to this, but spending time through the midfield, also going down back. So switching up between defence and the midfield a little bit. But for me, he's got the role to allow him to score well. I just think that he's not in the best of form. So hopefully he can bounce back. But I was expecting or hoping for a 105 season average. That's not going to be on the cards anymore. We'll be pretty lucky if he can even scrape to 100. So a little bit disappointing, but again, a very durable player. We know he's going to play every week for us. Massimo and Dirksen, obviously on the pine, didn't play this week. Onto the midfield. So Took, again, has had a bit of an up and down season, but a 110 from him is all good. This man, Zach Merritt, I tell you what, I was super worried about him after 2 weeks of owning him. He gave me a couple of 90 type scores. But then he played West Coast, hit some form there. I think it was a 111, 112 type score. And then after that, bang, 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 130 pluses. I thought the first week he did this, he's booted 3 goals. Surely that won't happen again. His scoring will start to regress. No, the next week, again, he didn't necessarily need to impact the scoreboard, just used the ball really well. Super damaging. And then last week, again, I think it was one of his highest disposal counts of the year. I think it was about 36 or more touches. So previously to that, in the last month, he'd been averaging around the 25 mark. So 10 extra touches this week meant that he got a really decent score. And I think all of a sudden, within the space of a month, I've gone from not really enjoying owning Zerrett to almost putting the C on him, because in the current form that he's in, I don't think there are too many other players in the comp that are scoring as well. So super happy with the Zerrett selection at the moment. Lockie Neal I had as my vice captain. So the 121 against GWS, I decided to take this week after deciding not to take Clary's VC score the week before. So learnt from my lessons there and still pretty happy with that at the end of the day. It's always hard when your players playing against GWS because they're very unpredictable. Are they going to run with a hard tag? Are they not? It changes from week to week. So I'll take a 121 from Neil. Christian Petracca. I've been begging for this bloke to use the football well, and his efficiency was right up over the weekend. I thought that this would either go really well or really bad. On the really bad side of things, I thought that there was the potential for William Drew to put a pretty hard tag on him. The thought behind that was, well, there's no Oliver. If he can shut down track, then basically the whole midfield is shut down. But they didn't decide to run Drew with him, and he ran riot. So hit the scoreboard, which was great. Looked pretty strong in the contest as well. Laid a few tackles. Very, very high contested possession rate, which I think was a big reason for his 140 plus score. But as I said before, just actually used the ball pretty well. So that all resulted in a really nice score for him this week. And I did mention a few weeks ago that his form after the bye last year was really, really strong. He's already given us that 190. A 90 odd last week, and now hit back with a 140. So a really high 3-round average from track. And he does have the potential to hurt you if you don't own him, but at the same time has the potential to hurt you if you do own him. So hopefully he keeps tracking up for owners. Jack McRae, 128, fantastic. I didn't VC him because he's been a little bit inconsistent. I said last week that McRae's becoming harder and harder to trust, particularly for a VC or captaincy option. So 128 from him was fantastic. Brayshaw and Brodie were both a little bit down this week. I'm not going to blame Champion Data for not scoring them well because I didn't see a heap of this match. I did watch the first quarter though. Brayshaw, I think, only found a few possessions. Brodie was on about 35, 40 points. So he really slowed up in the next 3 quarters, which was a little bit disappointing, but it is what it is. He's a pretty popular player. And Paddy Cripps also with the 84. I'm sick of having this bloke in my side. Hindsight's a great thing, but if I had my time back, I would have actually made the move 2 weeks ago to get him out and Rory Laird in, because I'm still sitting on 4 trades. I'll be much happier having Rory Laird in my side at the moment over Paddy Cripps with 2 trades over the 4. So possibly played that a little bit safe, but I suppose we won't know that until the end of the season. But Cripper at the moment playing that second ruck role is not bursting away from those stoppages, lacking a little bit of energy. Just a shell of the player that we saw in the first 5 to 6 weeks. So extremely disappointing there. I would love to get out of this pick, and I highly advise, if you got the money and the trades in the bank, to make sure that you do so. I know that when Pitney comes back, that probably means better things for Cripps. He won't necessarily need to play that second ruck relief role, but when is Pitto coming back? I'm not exactly sure, and I'm not really prepared to wait. So I'm not really in a situation where I can get Cripps up to Rory Laird. I might be able to get him up to a Mills type, but I'm pretty gung-ho on getting Laird in some way. But how will I do that? I'm not too sure yet. We'll have to wait and see. Oliver obviously didn't play on the weekend. Hopefully the great man comes back this week. Clark and Owens, I think, pretty much dead rookies now. Shrek Darcy with a 94. Again, pretty disappointing. I wanted a little bit more from Darcy, but it is what it is. What are we going to do? Max Gawn absolutely sputtered it up. Rob had a pretty poor game this week. Jared Witts, as we can see there, with a 78, had a poor game. So at the end of the day, you can't really complain with a 94, but it does really hurt seeing someone like a Goldie go 130 plus. I've heard that the Teak may actually be fit and available to play this week. Whether or not he's selected is another story, but great to see that there is a chance that he comes back into the side. And this man, Jared Witts, I made a really good decision trading him out about 5 weeks ago to the Nank. And I tell you what, I should have just kept on to the Nank. I would have got a 99 over a 78. So there's an extra 20 odd points. I would have been ahead. I would have been a trade in front as well. So this one really hurt. The method behind the madness there was the fact that with Nank and his knee issue, I didn't know how he was going to come back. Was his time on ground going to be majorly affected? Was he actually going to score half decent? I just didn't know, and I wasn't willing to risk him dropping a 50 and then going below 500k in value. So it is what it is. Witts was really the only bloke that I could afford that I was interested in. I could have gone someone like a Rowan, but given the fact that Paddy Ryder was playing at the time, we know that he's injured now, he wasn't really an option. So I wish I had have been able to wait the week. I would have actually brought in Rowan this week over Jared Witts, and he would have cost me yeah, a lot less as well. So super disappointed with Wits, but hopefully he can bounce back on the horse for us. The Bont with a 181. I'll tell you what, I'll talk a lot about this in detail in the stock market video because I've only got a couple of minutes. You will not see a better game from a captain. This was an absolute captain's game. The contested pill, everything he touched just turned to gold. He was a man on the mission, and what I was most impressed about was his defensive game as well. Those intercept marks, backing back into those packs, and really giving some assistance to his mates down back. So I think he was the reason why the Dogs got up and played so well. A phenomenal game, one of the better games that you'll ever see, I think. Cog still tracking along with a 95. That's all cool. Timmy English. I mentioned a week ago that I do have concerns with him. He just doesn't look right. Now, I'm not sure if it's the fact that possibly he's lost some strength when he was really crook. We know that we heard that he lost 7 to 9 kilos, I think it was from memory. He's not really getting around the ground too well. We know last week his role slightly changed up given the fact that Norton was out, so he was required to play up forward a little bit more often. Sweet was obviously in the side as well, which doesn't mean great things to English. So I'm hoping with Sweet out of the side, the fact that he's now come back, has a couple of games under his belt, that he'll start to get a bit of a touch going again. But, you know, I had him pegged as a clear F1. I don't see him anywhere near it at the moment. And Marcus Bontempelli, for me, is a clear F1 at this stage. So can English turn it around? I think that he can. But, yeah, I've got my fingers crossed on that one. Trading Heaney to English cost me about 150k and 2 trades. That's been a nightmare. If I had Heaney still on my side, I'd have 6 trades in the bank and about 150 to 200k. So terrible trading for me, but at the time, it's the trade that makes sense. You can't kick yourself about doing that. Lukey Parker has actually been a little bit disappointing lately. And 92, again, is okay, like your Hewitts and your Doherty's down back, but it's not going to win your games. So I'll take it. But come on, Lukey, 100 plus, mate. 100 plus from you. Dunkley is in terrible form. Everyone's got him. Again, I think he's someone that can hit back, though. And Peter McCartan, I was also disappointed with this because basically the first time that I haven't needed him on field this year was last week, and he scores 100 plus. The week before, it was a 50 odd. This week, it's another high 50. What can you do about it? What can you do about it? It's still a half decent score for coverage, but yeah, every time I need him, he just doesn't seem to score really well. But still a great loop and a great cover to have. And obviously Roses is out, didn't play, and Rioli wasn't selected as well. Roses, I've heard, might be back this week. He did have a hamstring issue, but he's tracking along and progressing really, really nicely. Whether or not he's an automatic inclusion back into the 22, I'm not too sure, because they do have some other small forwards. They've got Aister at the moment. Rankin played a bit of a different role this year, but he's still available, so I'm not too sure if he comes straight in or not. But look, that is the side, guys. Hopefully Ollie will be back this week, so the idea would be that I just get Brody back into the forward line. Rioli comes in, get Clary back on, and obviously Brody back on. Not sure if I'll be able to loot McCartan this week or not. Depending on injuries, I can always put him down back as well. Hopefully Massimo comes back also. Look, I've gone over that 10 minutes. I probably need to collect my kids from the art room now. Don't worry, they are getting supervised by the art teacher. But look, I'll leave it there for now, guys. I will upload the stock market video hopefully tonight. It might be tomorrow morning, depending on how I go for time. And depending if this bloke has actually came to fix up the internet. I might even do another quick separate video this week, looking at some of the different pod type options as well that you may look to select if you're really looking to shoot up the ranks. So look, I'll leave it there for now, guys. Hope that you're well. Take care, and I'll see you soon in the stocky. Cheers, bye.